Commander Li Guan walked through the metal halls of the starship Taigok Dan. His boots made soft sounds on the floor as he headed to his morning shift. The ship was quiet at this hour. Most of the crew was still sleeping. Ji-Wan had been in space for 3 years now. He knew every corner of this ship. He knew every sound it made when the engines ran. He knew which lights flickered in the lower decks. This ship was his home now. But today felt different. As he turned the corner toward his quarters, Guan stopped. Something was there on the floor outside his door. First he thought it might be cargo that had fallen, and the shape moved. It was alive. Gi-Wan stepped closer and saw her clearly for the first time. She was small and curled up like a sleeping cat. Her skin was pale and seemed to glow softly in the dim hallway light. She had long dark hair that covered most of her face. This was the alien they had picked up. 3 days ago, her name was Nari. She was from a planet called Velthera. Her people looked almost human, but not quite. Their skin could change colors when they felt strong emotions. Their eyes were larger than human eyes. They moved like dancers even when they were just walking. Gi-Wan had only seen her from far away. Until now, the doctors had kept her in the medical bay, and they moved her to special quarters for aliens. Nobody was supposed to get close to her. Protocol said to keep distance, till they knew more about her species. But here she was, outside his door. Nari was breathing slowly like she was asleep. Her skin had a blue tint to it. Guan wondered what that color meant for her people. Was she cold? Was she sad? He knelt down but did not touch her. Up close he could see that she was very thin. Her clothes were torn and dirty. These were the same clothes she had worn when they found her floating in space. Her transport ship had been destroyed. She was the only one who lived. G1 had read her file. Her whole family was gone. Her whole world was gone. Oh, the ship that carried the last people from her planet had exploded. Only she had made it to the escape pod. Now she was here, alone on a human ship full of strangers. G1 stood up quietly, did not want to wake her. He pressed his hand to the door scanner and went into his quarters. But he kept thinking about her lying there in the cold hallway. The next morning she was there again. Gi-Wan had finished his shift and was heading back to rest. There was Nari in the same spot, curled up like a small animal seeking warmth. Time her skin was more gray than blue. He stopped and looked at her for a long moment, and he went inside his room. On the third morning she was there once more. This time Gi-Wan was not alone. Dr. Park Min-ho was with him. Dr. Park was the ship's expert on alien life forms. He was a serious man who always followed the rules. Dr. Park saw Nari and frowned. She should not be here, he said. She has her own quarters. Why does she come to this spot? Guan did not know what to say. Maybe she's lost. No, Dr. Park said her quarters are just down that hall. She knows where they are. This is something else. Dr. Park walked closer to Nari. She did not wake up, but her skin turned a darker shade of gray. Interesting, Dr. Park said. Her body reacts even when she sleeps. Commander, you should stay away from her. Why? Gi-Wan asked. We don't know enough. About her people yet? Their emotional connections might be dangerous to humans. Some alien species can affect our minds without meaning to. Gi-Wan looked at Nari again. She looks so small and helpless. She doesn't seem dangerous. That's exactly why you should be careful, Dr. Park said. Come, let's go to the lab. I want to show you something. In the lab, Dr. Park showed Gi-Wan pictures and data on his computer screen. Look at this, he said. These are readings from the ship's sensors. Every time she gets near your quarters, there are strange energy patterns. The screen showed wavy lines and numbers that Gi-Wan did not understand. What does it mean? I'm not sure yet. But her brain produces different types of waves than human brains. When she has strong emotions, those waves get stronger. They might be able to affect other people nearby. Guan stared at the data. You saying she could hurt someone? I'm saying we don't know. That's why protocol exists. Keep safe distance until we understand. That night, Juan could not sleep well. He kept thinking about Nari lying in the cold hallway. He thought about her destroyed ship and her dead family. He thought about how alone she must feel. When morning came, he got dressed and opened his door. Nari was there as always. But today something was different. Her eyes were open. She was looking right at him. Giwan felt his heart beat faster. Eyes were the largest eyes he had ever seen. They were dark, but seemed to hold tiny lights like stars. When she looked at him, he felt like she could see inside his mind. They stared at each other for several seconds. Neither of them moved. Then Nari slowly closed her eyes and put her head down again. Jiwan went to work, but he could not focus. All day he thought about those eyes. There had been something in them. Not danger, not anger, something else. It was sadness. Deep sadness that seemed too big for one person to carry. That evening, Jiwan stopped by the ship's kitchen before going back to his quarters. He made a cup of hot tea. The kind his grandmother used to make when he was young and scared of thunder. Storms. When he got to his hallway, Nari was there again. This time he did not just walk past her. Set the cup of tea down near her head. Then he went into his room. The next morning the cup was empty. For the next week, this became their routine. Every morning Nari would be outside his door. Every evening Juan would leave something for her. Sometimes tea. Sometimes a piece of fruit. Once he left a small blanket. She never spoke to him. She never even looked at him again, but she always took what he offered. Other crew members started to notice. Some thought he was being foolish. Others thought he was being kind. Captain Kim Doyen called him to her office. "Commander Lee," she said, "I hear you've been feeding our alien guest. Just leaving some tea sometimes," Guan said. "Protocol says minimal contact until evaluation is complete." "Yes, Captain." "But," she said, and paused. "I also hear she seems calmer since you started this. Dr. Park says her stress readings have improved." Guan waited to see if he was in trouble. "Keep doing what you're doing, Captain," Kim said. "But be careful. If anything changes, report it." Immediately, "Yes, Captain." As Jiwon left the captain's office, he felt relief. He could keep helping Nari in his small way. Maybe it was not much, but it was something. He did not know that this small kindness would soon change everything for both of them and for the entire galaxy. 3 weeks had passed since Nari first appeared outside Jiwon's quarters. Every morning she was there. Every evening he left something for her. It had become as normal as breathing for both of them. But Dr. Park Minho was getting worried. He stood in his lab, looking at the computer screens filled with data about Nari. The readings were getting stranger each day. Her brain waves were becoming more active. The energy patterns around her were growing stronger. Dr. Park called Jiwon to the lab again. When Jiwon arrived, Dr. Park pointed to the screen. "Look at these new readings," he said. "This is from yesterday when you gave her that warm soup." Screen showed bright spikes and waves. Quan tried to understand what he was seeing. "Is this bad?" "I don't know," Dr. Park said. "But it's different. Her emotional responses are getting stronger, and there's something else." Dr. Park switched to another screen. This one showed a map of the ship. There were colored dots moving. "Around these dots are crew members," Dr. Park explained. "The colors show their emotional states. Blue is calm, yellow is normal, red is stressed." Giwan watched the dots move around the ship. Most were yellow with some blue, but in one area, all the dots were deep blue. "Where is that?" Chuan asked. "Near your quarters," Dr. Park said. "Wherever Nari spends time, people become calmer. Much calmer than normal." "That sounds good," Juan said. "Maybe, or maybe it means she's affecting human minds without us knowing it. Her people might have powers we don't understand." Dr. Park opened another file on his computer. "I've been studying what little we know about Veltharins. There are only a few reports from traders who met them before their planet was destroyed." The screen showed pictures of other Veltharins. They looked like Nari, but healthier. Their skin showed bright colors instead of the gray and blue that Nari always displayed. According to these reports, Dr. Park continued, Veltharins can feel the emotions of others very strongly. They can also share their own emotions. Some traders said being near them felt like having a warm blanket wrapped around your heart. Guan thought about how he felt when he saw Nari each morning. Even though she looked sad, her presence made him feel peaceful. Is that what's happening to the crew? Possibly, but we don't know if it's safe. What if she loses control? What if her sadness becomes too strong and affects everyone on the ship? That afternoon, Juan was walking through the ship when he heard voices in the mess hall. He stopped to listen. "I'm telling you, something weird is happening," said technician Choi Soo-ben. She was young and smart, responsible for keeping the ship's computer systems running. "What do you mean?" asked engineer Seo Young-jae. "The ship's AI has been acting strange," Soo-ben said. "It keeps asking me about emotional states. Yesterday, it wanted to know why crew members near Section C7 were reporting better sleep." "C7," said Navigator Han Jisu. "That's where the alien stays." "Exactly," Soo-ben said. "The AI is detecting changes in the ship's bioneural networks. Those networks are supposed to help keep the crew mentally stable during long space flights. But they're doing more than that now." Juan knew he should keep walking, but he stayed. "To hear more, the AI told me the networks are running more smoothly than they ever have," Soo-ben continued. "Like someone is helping them work better. But the AI doesn't understand how. Maybe the alien is sick and we should stay away from her," suggested Young-jae. "Or maybe she's helping us and we don't even know it," said Jisoo. That evening, Ji-won brought Nari a cup of tea as usual, but this time he also brought a small datapad. He sat down against the wall across from her, not too close, but close enough that she could see him. Nari opened her eyes and looked at him. Her skin turned a lighter shade of blue. Ji-won held up the datapad. On the screen was a simple drawing program. He drew a picture of a cup. Then he drew a picture of Nari. Then he drew a smiley face. Nari watched him carefully. Her skin began to show tiny flecks of purple mixed with the blue. Gi-won slid the datapad across the floor toward her. Then he pointed to himself and said slowly. Gu and Nari stared at the datapad for a long time. Finally, she reached out and touched the screen. The drawing program responded to her finger. She drew something. It was a picture of two figures sitting together. One was clearly meant to be Juan. The other was herself. Between them she drew a small heart. Juan felt his own heart beat faster. Purple flecks in her skin grew brighter. Then Nari did something unexpected. She pointed to herself and spoke. Her voice was soft and musical. "Nari," she said. It was the first word she had spoken since coming aboard the ship. "Nari," Ji-won repeated. She nodded. For the next hour they sat in the hallway together. Ji-won would point to things and say there. Names in standard language. Nari would repeat the words. Her pronunciation was strange, but she learned quickly. When it was time for Gi-won to sleep, he stood up. Nari looked sad again. Her skin returned to the gray-blue color. "Tomorrow," Gi-won said, pointing to the floor where they had been sitting. At the same time, Nari tilted her head like she was thinking. Then she nodded. The next morning, Juan woke up early. He was excited to continue teaching Nari more words. But when he opened his door, she was not there. He felt worried. Had something happened to her? Had Dr. Park moved her to a different part of the ship? Guan hurried to the medical bay. Dr. Park was there working at his desk. "Where is Nari?" "Is Guan?" "Asked in her quarters, I assume," Dr. Park said. "Why?" "She wasn't outside my door this morning." Dr. Park looked up from his work. "Maybe that's good. Maybe she's finally staying where she belongs." But Juan did not think it was good. He had grown used to seeing her there. The morning felt wrong. Without her, he went to the alien quarters section. There were 4 rooms set aside for non-human visitors. 3 were empty. The 4th had a security lock on the door. Ji-won pressed the door chime. After a moment, a small voice said, "Come." The door opened. Nari was sitting on the floor in the center of the room. The room was bare except for a bed and a small table. It looked like a prison cell. Nari's skin was completely gray now. She looked up at Ji-won with those large, star-filled eyes. "Why?" she asked in her soft voice. "Why? No, come outside today." Gi-won realized what had happened. She had been waiting. For him in her room, instead of the hallway. She thought he would come to find her. "I didn't know you were here," he said. "I thought you were gone." Nari stood up slowly. Her skin began to show flecks of blue. "Not gone," she said. "Waiting." "Come," Ji-won said. "Let's go to the hallway. I brought tea." As they walked together toward his quarters, Gi-won noticed other crew members watching them. Some looked curious. Others looked worried. A few smiled, but Jiwan did not care what they thought. Nari needed a friend. Somehow, without meaning to, it had become important to him too. He did not know that their friendship was about to be tested in ways neither of them could imagine. The alarm began screaming at 0400 hours. Quan woke up fast, his heart racing. Red lights flashed in his quarters. The ship was shaking. He put on his uniform quickly and ran to the bridge. Other crew members were running through the halls, too. Everyone looked scared. Captain Kim Do-Yan was already on the bridge when Ji-won arrived. Her face was pale. "Report," she ordered. "Hyperspace storm, Captain," said Navigator Han Jisoo. Her hands were shaking as she worked at her station. It came. Out of nowhere. We're caught in the middle of it. Gi-won had heard of hyperspace storms but never experienced one. They were like hurricanes in space, but much worse. Ships could be torn apart by the energy waves. "Can we get out of it?" Captain Kim asked. "I'm trying," Jisoo said, "but the storm is too big. We're trapped." Engineer Seo Young-jae ran onto the bridge. "Captain, we have a bigger problem. The emotional stabilization systems are failing." Felt cold fear in his stomach. The emotional stabilization systems were what kept the crew mentally healthy during long space trips. Without them, people could go crazy from fear and loneliness. "How long until complete failure?" Captain Kim asked. "Maybe 30 minutes, Young-jae said. As if his words made it happen, the lights on the bridge flickered. A strange humming sound filled the air. Then Gi-won felt it. Terror. It hit him like a wave of cold water. Sudden complete terror that made no sense. He looked around and saw the same feeling on everyone's faces. Communications Officer Yuhana was breathing too fast. Young-jae was holding on to his station like he might fall. Starting Dr. Park's voice came over the ship's speakers. "The psychological barriers are breaking down. Everyone is feeling each other's fear." The terror grew stronger. Guan could feel the fear of every person on the ship mixing with his own. It was like drowning in other people's nightmares. Some crew members started crying. Others began to shake. Technician Choi Subin ran off the bridge, screaming. "We need to fix the systems," Captain Kim said, but her voice was weak. The fear was affecting her too. "I can't concentrate," Young-jae said. "The fear is too strong." Joan tried to think clearly, but the terror kept growing. Felt like the walls were closing in, like something terrible was about to happen. His hands would not stop shaking. Then he remembered Nari. "Where is the alien?" he asked Dr. Park over the communication system. "In her quarters," Dr. Park replied. "Why? She affected by this?" There was a pause. "I'll check." Gi-won left the bridge. He had to find Nari. Something told him she might be important right now. The halls were full of crew members sitting on the floor or leaning against walls. Everyone looked lost and scared. The fear got worse as he walked. By the time he reached the alien quarters section, Juan could barely think straight. His heart felt like it might explode. He found Dr. Park outside Nari's door. Dr. Park looked terrible. His face was white and covered in sweat. "She's not responding to the fear like we are," Dr. Park said in a shaky voice. "Her readings are strange. It's like she's fighting something." Gi-won pressed the door chime. When the door opened, he saw Nari sitting in the center of her room, just like before. But now, she was glowing. Her skin was bright white with streams of silver running through it. Her eyes were closed and she was breathing very slowly. The air around her seemed to shimmer. Most importantly, Gi-won felt the terror lessen when he stepped into her room. "Nari," he said softly. She opened her eyes. They were brighter than usual, like stars in a dark sky. When she looked at him, the fear in his chest became smaller. "Ship hurting," she said in her musical voice. "People hurting. I feel all... Can you help?" Guan asked. Nari stood up slowly. The silver streams in her skin moved faster. Too much pain. Too much fear. "I try to hold, but... She held up her hands. They were shaking. Dr. Park stepped into the room. As soon as he did, his face relaxed. "Incredible," he whispered. "She's absorbing the emotional energy." "What?" Ji-won asked. "The fear from the crew." Dr. Park explained. She's taking it into herself. That's why we feel better near her. Nari nodded. My people do this. We take bad feelings, make them smaller. But so many people, ... so much fear. I am not strong enough alone. The ship shook harder. More alarms started ringing. Through the communication system, they could hear crew members crying and shouting. We have to do something, Juan said. People are going to get hurt. Ari looked at him with those bright eyes. You help me? How? Your people have strong hearts, stronger than my people. If you share strength with me, maybe I can help all. Dr. Park stepped forward. That could be dangerous. You don't know what happens when human and Velthran minds connect. People are already in danger, Giwan said. He looked at Nari. What do I need to do, Nari? Reached out her hand. Hold. Think of good things. Think of hope. Giwan took her hand. Her skin was warm and seemed to pulse with energy. The moment they touched, he felt something amazing. It was like seeing through her eyes. He could feel every person on the ship. All their fear and pain flowed through Nari into him. But instead of making him scared, it made him want to help them. Think of home, Nari whispered. Think of safety. Giwan thought about his childhood home. He thought about his mother making soup when he was sick. He thought about summer days and the feeling of being completely safe. Those warm feelings flowed from him into Nari. Her skin began to glow brighter. The silver streams moved through her like rivers of light. It's working, Dr. Park said. The ship's emotional readings are stabilizing. Through their connection, Giwan could feel Nari spreading calm throughout the ship. The terror that had filled the halls was being replaced by peace. Crew members stopped crying. Their breathing slowed down. But the effort was taking everything. Nari had. She was getting weaker. I cannot hold much longer, she said. The hyperspace storm is ending, came Captain Kim's voice over the speakers. We're almost through it. Nari's legs started to shake. Giwan held her hand tighter and thought harder about good things. He thought about the first time he saw the stars. He thought about the day he became a space officer. He thought about every moment of wonder and hope he had ever felt. Almost, Nari whispered. Her skin was starting to fade from bright white back to normal. Then suddenly it was over. The ship stopped shaking. The alarms went quiet. The terrible fear that had filled the air was gone. Nari collapsed. Guan caught her before she could fall. Her skin was pale gray again, but peaceful. She was breathing, but very weak. Dr. Park checked. His medical scanner. She'll be okay, he said. But she needs rest. What just happened, Jiwan asked. She saved us all, Dr. Park said quietly. Without her, the crew would have torn the ship apart in their panic. Giwan looked down at Nari in his arms. She opened her eyes and smiled at him. Thank you, she whispered. But Giwan knew he should be thanking her. She had risked everything to save people who were still strangers to her as he carried her to the medical bay. Giwan realized something important had changed. Nari was not just an alien refugee anymore. She was part of their crew now, and he was never going to let anyone hurt her. 2 days after the hyperspace storm, everything on the ship felt different. The crew moved with new purpose. People smiled more. The usual tension of long space travel had disappeared. G1 sat in his quarters thinking about what had happened. Nari had saved them all, but she had also revealed something important. Her people were not just aliens with strange abilities. They were healers. A soft knock came at his door. When G1 opened it, he found Nari standing there. She looked much better than she had after the storm. Her skin showed soft purple and blue colors instead of gray. May I enter? She asked. Her standard language had improved quickly over the past weeks. G1 stepped aside. Of course. It was the first time Nari had been inside his quarters. She looked around with curiosity at his books, his pictures of Earth, his small collection. Of things from home? Thank you, she said, sitting in the chair across from his desk. For helping me during the storm. You saved everyone, Giwan replied. I should thank you. Nari shook her head. Could not do alone. Human strength made it possible. She paused, then looked directly into his eyes. There is something you must know about my people. About why my ship was destroyed. Gi-wan sat down across from her. Tell me. Veltharans do not just feel emotions, Nari began. We can change them. Take fear and make it courage. Take anger and make it peace. For many years, we lived quiet lives. On our world, we helped each other. We were happy. Our skin turned darker blue as she continued. Then other species found us. They wanted to use our abilities. Some tried to make us into weapons. Others wanted to keep us as slaves, to make their people calm. That's terrible, Gyuan said. We refused to help them hurt others. So they called us dangerous. They said we were too powerful to live free. Nari's voice became sad. The hegemony decided we must all die. Gyuan had heard of the hegemony. They were a group of alien worlds that controlled much of this part of the galaxy. They ruled through fear and force. The hegemony destroyed your planet? He asked. Yes. But first they tried to capture some of us. They wanted to study our abilities. My transport ship was carrying the last survivors. We were trying to reach the outer systems where we could hide. Nari stood up and walked to Gyuan's small window. Outside, stars moved past as the ship traveled through space. They found us anyway, she continued. Their ships surrounded us. We knew we could not escape. So the adults on my ship made a choice, used all their power at once too. Destroy the hegemony ships. But doing that killed them too. How did you survive? Gyuan asked softly. I was young, not fully trained. The others put me in the escape pod before they gave their lives. Tears ran down Nari's face. Her skin showed streaks of deep blue mixed with silver. Gyuan wanted to comfort her, but he did not know how. I'm sorry. There is more, Nari said. The hegemony knows I survived. They have been looking for me. And now ... She turned to face him. Now they know where I am. What do you mean? Communications officer Yuhana found something today. Strange signals following our ship. The same type the hegemony uses for tracking. Gyuan felt cold fear in his stomach. They're coming for you. Yes. And when they find me, they will destroy this ship and everyone on it. Just like they did to my people. Gyuan stood up quickly. We have to tell Captain Kim. We need to prepare defenses. I know, Nari said. That will only get more people killed. I should leave. Take an escape pod and go far away. Maybe they will follow. Me and leave your ship alone. Absolutely not, Gyuan said firmly. You're part of this crew now. We don't abandon our people. Nari looked surprised. Your people? But I am alien. So what? You risked your life to save us? That makes you family. For a moment, Nari's skin showed bright gold, mixed with the blue. It was the first time Gyuan had seen that color on her. There might be another way, she said slowly. But it is dangerous. Tell me, what the hegemony fears most is not my people alone. It is what happens when Veltharans bond with other species. When we share our abilities with others who have strong hearts. Gyuan thought about their connection during the storm, how their combined strength had saved the crew. Like what we did during the hyperspace storm. He asked, yes, but deeper. A true bond between our minds. It would make both of us stronger. Strong enough to fight back. Nari paused. But once formed, such a bond cannot be broken. We would be connected for life. Gyuan did not hesitate. Do it. You do not understand, Nari said. You would feel everything I feel. Know everything I know. And I would be the same with you. We would no longer be just two separate people. I understand, Gyuan said, and I trust you. Before Nari could respond, alarms began ringing throughout the ship. Captain Kim's voice came over the speakers. All crew to battle stations. We have multiple hostile ships approaching. This is not a drill. Gyuan and Nari ran to the bridge together. The main screen showed 5 large ships moving toward them. They were dark and angular, built for war. Hegemony battle cruisers, Captain Kim said grimly. They're demanding we surrender the Veltharon, or they'll destroy us. How long until they reach us? Gyuan asked. 20 minutes, Navigator Hun Jisoo replied. We can't fight 5 battle cruisers. Engineer Seo Young-ja said. Our ship has only basic defenses. Nari stepped forward. Captain, may I speak? Captain? Kim looked at her carefully. Go ahead, I can help. But I need your permission to form a bond with Commander Ji-won. It will give us power to fight these ships. What kind of bond? Captain Kim asked. Dr. Park, who had just arrived on the bridge, answered, a mental connection between species. Theoretically, it could amplify both their abilities, but it's never been tested. Is it safe? Captain Kim asked. Don't know, Dr. Park admitted. Captain Kim looked at the enemy ships getting closer. Then she looked at Ji-won.
Commander, this is your choice.
Ji-won took Nari's hand. I choose to trust her. Then do it, Captain Kim said.
Whatever you're going.
To do. Do it now. Nari closed her eyes and placed her other hand on Ji-won's forehead. Think of everyone you want to protect, she whispered. Ji-won thought of his crew, his ship, his home. Thought of Nari and how she had saved them all. Then everything changed. Suddenly Ji-won could feel the mind of every person on the ship, but instead of being overwhelming like during the storm, it felt natural. He could sense their courage, their determination to protect each other, and he could feel Nara's mind joined with his. Her memories became his memories. Her strength became his strength. Ready? She asked, but now he heard her voice inside his mind as well as with his ears. Ready? He answered the same way. Together, they reached out with their combined power toward the approaching ships. What they found there surprised them. The hegemony crews were not evil. They were afraid, controlled by leaders who used fear to make them obey. We can free them, Nari's voice said in his mind. Together, Ji-won replied, they began to push peace and courage toward the enemy ships. Just as they had done for their own crew during the storm, the battle for freedom was about to begin. The moment Ji-won and Nara's minds truly connected, everything became clear. Through their bond, Ji-won could see the hegemony ships not as enemies, but as prisons filled with scared people. The crews on those battle cruisers were from different worlds. Many had been forced to serve the hegemony. Others had been controlled through fear and lies. None of them wanted to destroy innocent ships. Can you feel them? Nari asked through their mental link. Yes, Ji-won replied. They're as trapped as you were. On the bridge around them, the crew worked frantically to prepare for battle. But Ji-won and Nari stood still, their eyes closed, reaching out with their combined consciousness. Incoming message. From the lead hegemony ship, Communications Officer Yuhana announced. On screen, Captain Kim ordered. The main display showed a large alien with gray skin and red eyes. This was Commander Vex of the hegemony forces. Behind him, other aliens worked at weapon stations. Human vessel, Vex said in a cold voice. Carry a dangerous criminal. Surrender the Velthron immediately or face destruction. Captain Kim stood tall. The being you call a criminal is under our protection. We will not surrender her. Then you will die with her, Vex replied. You have 5 minutes to reconsider. The communication ended. Around the bridge, everyone looked tense. 5 battle cruisers against 1 exploration ship was not a fair fight, but Ji-won felt something through his bond with Nari. Hope, the commander of that ship, Nari whispered aloud. He does not want to kill us. I can feel his doubt. What do you mean? Dr. Park asked. Vex has children, Nari explained, on his home world. He serves the hegemony because they threaten his family. He hates what he must do. Through their connection, Ji-won could sense it too. Commander Vex was tired of following orders that hurt innocent people, but he was afraid of what would happen to his loved ones if he refused. We can help him, Ji-won said. Help all of them, how? Captain Kim asked. Ji-won looked at his captain. The same way Nari helped us during the storm. By showing them they have a choice. Engineer Seo Young-jae ran to his station. Enemy ships are charging weapons. 2 minutes until they fire. All crew, brace for impact, Captain Kim announced over the ship's communication system. But Ji-won and Nari had a different plan. They reached out together with their minds, sending waves of calm and courage toward the hegemony ships. But this time they did more than just share emotions. They shared memories. Through their bond, they showed the enemy crews what really happened on Velthera. How the Veltherans had only wanted to help others. How the hegemony had lied about them being dangerous. They shared the memory of the hyperspace storm, when Nari had risked her life to save strangers. They showed how humans and Veltherans could work together to heal instead of harm. On the lead hegemony ship, Commander Vex suddenly stopped giving orders. His red eyes went wide as the truth flowed into his mind. "Sir?" one of his officers asked. "Should we fire?" Vex hesitated. For his entire career, he had followed hegemony orders without question. But now he was seeing things differently. Through their bond, Giwan could feel Vex's inner struggle. The alien commander was remembering his own children, wondering what kind of galaxy he was creating for them. 1 minute until weapons are ready, young Jai announced on the bridge of the human ship. "Keep reaching out," Nari urged Juwan through their mental link. More of them are listening. It was true. Across all 5 enemy ships, crew members were beginning to question their orders. The fear that the hegemony used to control them was being replaced by something stronger, the desire to do what was right. On the second ship, a young weapons officer named Kess refused to target the human vessel. On the third ship, an engineer named Thera began shutting down the attack systems. The change spread from ship to ship like ripples in water. "Sir, the crews are not responding to firing orders," an officer reported to Commander Vex. Vex closed his eyes. Through the bond, Guan could feel the alien making a choice that would change his life forever. "Stand down all weapons," Vex ordered. "Sir," his second-in-command asked in confusion. "I said stand down. We will not fire on the human ship." On the bridge of the Taigok Dawn, everyone stared at the main screen in amazement. The hegemony ships had stopped their attack approach. "What's happening?" Captain Kim asked. "They're choosing freedom," Nari said softly. But their victory was not complete yet. Through their bond, Giwan sensed new danger approaching. "More ships coming," he warned. "Hegemony reinforcements." Navigator Han Jisoo checked her instruments. "Confirmed." 3. More battle cruisers approaching from hyperspace. "They'll be here in 10 minutes. These new ships were different. Giwan could feel that their crews were true believers in the hegemony way. They would not be swayed by emotions or memories. Commander Vex's voice came over the communication system. "Again, human ship, this is Vex. My fleet will not attack you. But the ships coming now are under direct hegemony command. They will destroy us all." "Can we run?" Captain Kim asked Navigator Jisoo. "Not with our current engine damage from the storm," Jisoo replied. "We're too slow." Through their bond, Jiwan felt Nari making a decision. "What are you thinking?" he asked her mentally. "The crews who chose freedom," she replied. "They can help us fight. You want to turn hegemony ships against each other? I want to show them they are stronger together than apart." Nari spoke aloud to the bridge crew. "We need to connect all. The ships that chose freedom, make them work as one." "How?" Dr. Park asked. "The same way Juwan and I are connected, but bigger." Juwan understood. "You want to create a bond between multiple ships." "Yes. Human determination combined with alien abilities from different worlds. Together we can face anything." It was an incredible idea. But also dangerous. Linking so many minds together had never been tried before. "The reinforcement ships will be here in 5 minutes, young Jai announced. "Do it!" Captain Kim ordered. "Whatever you're planning, do it now." Juwan and Nari reached out through their bond, connecting not just with each other but with the crews of the 5 hegemony ships that had chosen freedom. Commander Vex felt the connection first. His mind joined with theirs, bringing his experience and tactical knowledge. Then Engineer Thera from the third ship, adding her technical skills. Weapons Officer Kess brought his combat training. One by one, crew members from all 6 ships joined. The growing network of minds, humans, Veltherans, and dozens of other species working together with one purpose: to protect each other and defend their right to choose their own path. When the hegemony reinforcements arrived, they found something they had never seen before. 6 ships moving in perfect coordination, their crews united by bonds deeper than fear or orders. The battle that followed would be remembered across the galaxy. Not because of the weapons used or the ships destroyed, but because it proved something. The hegemony had always denied. Freedom was stronger than fear. People working together could overcome any tyranny, as the enemy reinforcements retreated in confusion. Juan looked at Nari through their bond and smiled. They had not just saved themselves. They had started a revolution, and it was only the beginning. 6 months had passed since the battle that changed everything. Guan stood on the bridge of the Taigok Dawn, but the ship looked very different now. The walls showed displays from dozens of other vessels. Human ships, former hegemony cruisers, and craft from worlds that had just discovered freedom for the first time. They all traveled together in a growing fleet. Nari stood beside him, no longer curled up outside his quarters like a lost creature. Her skin showed bright colors that changed with her emotions: gold for happiness, silver for determination, deep blue for the love she felt for their crew and their mission. Their bond had grown stronger over the months. Juan could feel her thoughts, as clearly as his own, and through their connection, they could reach out to thousands of other minds across the fleet. Status report. Giwan called to his bridge crew. 17 new ships joined us this week, Communications Officer Yuhanna announced. Refugees from the Kelton system. The hegemony abandoned their world when the local population refused to follow orders. Any word from the outer colonies? Juan asked. Navigator Han Jisoo smiled. More star systems have declared independence from hegemony rule, asking for our help to set up their own governments. Through their mental bond, Juan felt Nara's joy at the news. Every world that chose freedom made both of them happy. But they also felt the weight of responsibility. So many people were looking to them for guidance. Dr. Park Min-ho entered the bridge carrying his latest research data. I have the monthly reports on our bonded crew members, he said. The doctor had spent months studying what happened when different species formed. Mental connections like Jiwan and Nari had. His findings amazed everyone. All connections remain stable and healthy, Dr. Park reported. The bonded pairs show increased problem-solving abilities, better emotional control, and remarkable teamwork skills. Any negative effects, Captain? Kim asked. None that we can detect. If anything, the connected individuals seem happier and more confident than before. It was true. Across the fleet, humans had bonded with dozens of different alien species. Each partnership brought new abilities and perspectives. Engineers worked with crystal-based life forms who could think in mathematical equations. Connected with gas cloud beings who understood space in ways no solid creature could imagine. The hegemony had taught the galaxy that different species could not trust each other. But the growing fleet proved every day that cooperation made everyone stronger. Incoming transmission from the hegemony capital, Hannah announced. Put it on screen, Captain Kim ordered. The display showed a familiar face, Hegemony Supreme, Peter Korth. He was the one who had ordered the destruction of Velthera and countless other worlds. His expression was angry but also worried. Giwan, Korth said, speaking directly to him instead of Captain Kim. You have caused enough chaos. The galaxy needs order, not your foolish ideas about freedom. Guan stepped forward. Through his bond with Nari, he could feel the Supreme Leader's emotions. Korth was afraid. His empire was falling apart as more worlds chose independence. Galaxy is choosing its own path, Giwan replied calmly. We're just helping people see that they have options. You are spreading a dangerous disease, Korth snarled. These mental bonds you create weaken species by making them dependent on others. Ari moved to stand beside Juwan. When she spoke, her voice carried the strength of their entire fleet. My people tried to live alone and hidden, she said. It did not save us. But working together, we have built something the hegemony cannot destroy. We shall see, Korth replied. I am sending my entire battle fleet to end this rebellion. 1,000 ships, carrying the most advanced weapons in the galaxy. And we will be ready, Juwan said. The transmission ended. Around the bridge, the crew looked concerned. 1,000 ships was a massive force. But through their bond, Jiwan and Nari felt something that surprised them. They were not afraid. How many ships do we have now? Juwan asked. Engineer Seo Youngjai checked his displays. 437 vessels. But most are not built for war. Numbers don't matter, Nari said softly. The hegemony still thinks like the old galaxy. They believe fear is stronger than hope. But we know better, Guan added. Over the next few days, word of the coming battle spread throughout their fleet. Instead of panic, it created determination. Species that had been enemies for centuries worked side by side to prepare defenses. Former hegemony officers like Commander Vex shared tactical knowledge with human strategists. Alien engineers upgraded human ships with technology from dozens of worlds. Most importantly, the mental bonds between different species grew stronger. Small groups of connected minds joined together into larger networks. Soon, entire ships were working as single entities. When the hegemony fleet finally arrived, they expected to find a collection of rebel ships fighting each other for control. Instead, they discovered something that should have been impossible. 437 vessels moving as one organism. Every ship knowing instantly what all the others were doing. Every crew member connected to a vast network of minds working toward the same goal. The battle lasted only 3 hours. And not because of superior weapons or tactics, but because something unexpected happened. The bonds that connected the rebel fleet began reaching out to the hegemony ships. Crew members who had been forced to serve discovered they could choose a different path. Officers who had followed orders out of fear found courage they never knew they had. One by one, hegemony ships stopped fighting and asked to join the growing network of free minds. Supreme Leader Korth, watching his empire collapse in real time, made a final, desperate choice. He tried to activate a weapon that would destroy every ship in the battle zone, including his own fleet. But his own officers, newly freed from fear, stopped him. The war ended not with explosions, but with understanding. 3 years later, Guan walked through the halls of what had once been the hegemony capital. The dark corridors had been opened to sunlight. The walls that had separated different species had been torn down. In the center of the station, Great Assembly Hall housed representatives from over 1,000 worlds. They met not as conquered territories, but as equal partners in a new kind of government. Nari found him there, watching the delegates work together to solve problems peacefully. Their bond had become so natural that they often forgot where one mind ended and the other began. "Do you ever miss the simple days?" she asked. "When it was just you and me in the hallway outside your quarters?" Guan smiled and took her hand. Around them, beings from across the galaxy worked together in harmony. Through their expanded network of bonds, both of them could feel the contentment and hope of billions of individuals. "No," he said. "This is better." Through the great windows of the assembly hall, they could see ships arriving and departing constantly. Each one carried the message of freedom to new worlds. Each one proved that the choice to open doors instead of building walls could change everything every dawn brought. New ships to their growing alliance. In every dawn, somewhere in the galaxy, another person made the same choice Juan had made that first morning when he found Nari. Outside his quarters, the choice to invite someone inside, the choice to trust instead of fear, the choice to build. A universe where no one had to sleep alone outside locked doors. As the artificial sun set over the former hegemony capital, Guan and Nari felt the dreams of 1,000,000,000,000 connected minds settling into peaceful sleep. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new worlds to welcome, new bonds to form. But tonight, everyone in their ever-growing family was safe, warm, and home. The galaxy had learned the most human lesson of all, that sometimes the greatest strength comes from opening your heart to a stranger who needs help. And from that simple kindness, entire civilizations could be born.